I had to drive 7 hours each way to pick this thing up. Alright, riding my new KLX300, the smallest bike I've ever owned. My other adventure bikes slash dual sport bikes have been a BMW F650 GS Dakar, an Africa Twin, a KTM 890 Adventure, and now this. And the reason I got this is because my wife rides a Yamaha XT250. She's a new rider. And I found myself just idling along in my KTM 890 when I was riding with her. So I thought it would be nice to have something that would put us on more equal footing while we're riding. Well, and plus I was just interested in having a light bike that I can throw around, and if I tip it over I can pick it up easily, etc. So this is the ticket, I think. Well, I have to keep it under 4,000 RPM right now because I'm still in my 150 mile break-in period. And then it slips up to, I think, 6,000 RPM. So I really am not going to be able to analyze how it performs well today, but I am definitely going to be able to tell how it feels. Well, it feels good. I had the dealer put on some aftermarket handlebars, and I really like how those feel. They are Pro Taper CR high bends, and they really give a good commanding feel. I like how wide they are. They're just right for me. They also put on some Acerbis handguards for me, which I am not pleased with, and I will talk about that in a later video. I had asked for bark busters or equivalent, and that's my fault. They gave me the equivalent, and they just don't have as much room in the control area as the bark busters would. The seat, it's not super uncomfortable, it's not super comfortable. It's kind of what I expected on a dual sport. Maybe someday I'll decide I want to upgrade it, especially if I'm going to take a long trip, or at least put a pad over the top. But yeah, it's what I expected. As for the display, I find it kind of hard to read, especially the RPM numbers. You just have to kind of count from left to right to figure out how many RPMs you're running. I'm also not a fan of the brake line coming from the master cylinder. It loops around perfectly in front of the display, so you can't really see much of anything. It perfectly blocks my turn signal indicator, and it just blocks most of the display, so I may try to tie that down a little bit or something so it's not quite as much in my view. No complaints on the mirrors. I can imagine at highway speeds they may get a little buzzy, but I can't go more than 40 miles an hour right now, so I can't really evaluate that. I'm going 30 miles an hour right now, and they're fine at 30, but I can see how they would get a little buzzy and kind of hard to use. In terms of the shifting and braking, the shifting feels a little bit clunky, but it's brand new, so that's probably to be expected. Brakes, so far so good, just as expected. I'm riding with my street boots on right now, so the shifter feels fine for me. We'll have to see how it feels when I throw my adventure boots on. I may need to adjust the shift lever. In terms of overall feel, it's a lighter bike than anything I've ever owned by well over 100 pounds, probably 150 pounds or more lighter than my next lightest bike I've ever owned. And it certainly feels like it. Definitely feels bouncy, squirrely, but it's what I expected. So in terms of standing, feels really good. I like the bar position of these Pro Taper CR high bars. Feels just right for me. The pegs are definitely narrow. I've got aftermarket IMS pegs ready to go. I also have a Ricochet skid plate ready to go. Yeah, this bike is going to be fun. I'm actually pretty darn excited. So that's about all I can really evaluate right now until I'm able to get this thing above 4,000 RPM. Then I'll be able to do another review and really talk about how I feel it performs as my first true dual sport. Well, if you like this video and you want to see more, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out. And I will see you on the next video.